The unit tests are located in unit directory, which is within the test directory of your module. Go ahead and create the test directory and then unit. Since the purpose of writing unit tests is to ensure code quality and early bug detection, this can be applied to the classes that processes some logic or contain meaningful code. Therefore, we will identify the models or classes suitable for unit testing. We can write unit tests for membership management model. So go ahead and create the unit test for membership management model. There should be test keyword after the class name. The class should extend from PHP unit framework test case. Next, we will identify the methods to be covered by unit tests. Split the code screens with the original and test classes. This way it will be easier to write unit tests. Before going ahead, we need a mock instance of membership management model. This will keep reference to the original class in order to perform assertions. We can set it up right inside setup protected method. We will use the new keyword directly here. Since the management membership model requires customer repository and membership repository instances, so let's first create mock objects for both of these classes. Create customer repository mock property. We will use the mock builder to prepare the mock object. Specify the class name in parameter. Disable original constructor. If we have specified interface, use getMock for abstract class method. Then create membership repository mock property. Alternatively, we can use createMock method for creating the mock objects. Now specify both mock classes as constructor parameters. We can create test cases for public methods only. So now let's begin creating the test case for getMembershipPlan method. No parameter is required, so remove it. Specify the test keyword before method name. Follow the camel case notation. Method will not return anything. We will use a sample or test value in place of customer ID parameter. Move to the first line. We will create assertion for this. We need to assert that customer repository getById method is called once, accepting customer ID parameter, and as a result returns a customer data interface. So we should have customer mock object created first, invoke the mock builder method, and specify customer data interface in parameter. Disable original constructor and then get mock for abstract class. Customer repository mock.expects, and we will provide this dot once as parameter to tell our program that we are expecting this assertion once only. For method function, specify getById method name as parameter. The return method tells the program we are expecting customer data interface instance. So this whole invocation from customer repository tells the Magento test that we are expecting getById to be called once. During its invocation, this method takes customer ID in parameter and returns customer mock object. In next line of code, we retrieve the customer membership custom attribute instance using getCustomAttribute method. So if we take a look into this method definition, the attribute interface object is returned. So this means we would have to create the mock object of attribute interface first. We are expecting getCustomAttribute method to be called once with attribute code, and it is expected to return attribute mock object. Let's declare the code variable with value standard. Now we are expecting the getValue method to be called once and returning the code string. Next, we retrieve the membership instance using getByCode method from membership repository. So let's verify this behavior. First thing first, we need membership interface mock object. So create one. Now the membership mock object property expects getByCode method once, accepting code parameter, and returns membership mock object. As we see, the method returns a membership interface instance. So we will choose membership mock object for assertion. Invoke insert equals method. In first parameter specify the expected membership mock object, while in second parameter invoke the membership plan as an original behavior. This will take customer ID as an argument. Using insert equals, it has the expected behavior and original behavior. If return value from behavior is similar, this means the test was successful. Let's run this test. First look for the PHP unit executable. Specify the unit test configuration in path dev/test unit phpunit.xml.dist and then specify the path to the test coverage. The test was successful. There was a total 5 assertions. We can also perform tests for whole directory. Let's create unit tests for other methods as well. Next we have update membership plan method. So go ahead and create the test case for this method. Let's declare the variable first. We have similar code, so let's copy some path from previous test case. So moving forward, we will load customer information using getById method. If we take a look at the method, it returns the customer data interface. So first create the customer interface mock object. Next, begin assertion. We are expecting getById method invoked once with customer ID parameter. Then we are expecting setCustom attribute to be invoked once. With code and value as parameter. This method returns the current instance. Notice membership is invoking getCode method, so we are expecting it to be invoked once. Returning the string value, that's code. Next we save the customer information using customer repository instance. We are expecting save method once from customer repository mock, accepting customer mock instance, and returns the same customer mock object. Notice the getCode was called more than one time. So we are going to do a small change to the expects parameter to tell Magento that we are expecting this method more than one time. Specify this dot at most and specify 2 in parameter. As this method invoked 2 times, the comparison returns a boolean value are true. So we will use assert true and pass the method invocation using model and required parameter. This will tell Magento that our expected resulted value will always be returned true in this case. By the way, we need to update the method to have test keyword and camel casing. Now let's try the request. The test case failed. The reason is customer mock object was never initiated. That's why the set custom attribute method is called in null. So let's fix that. Now this time test passed and we have total 10 insertions. Next we also expect exception to be thrown on a particular behavior of the code, like get membership plan throws no such entity exception. We can create another test case for this method expecting such exception. We expect this exception is thrown during getByCode method invocation. So let's go ahead and create test case method for this. Test get membership plan with no such entity exception. First declare the customer ID value. Then invoke method expect exception and specify the exception class path. Create a customer interface mock object and expect the getById called once with customer ID parameter and return customer mock object. Then we have attribute mock object. Expect the get custom attribute method once with membership code parameter. Returns the attribute mock object. Expect get value invoked once, returning a string value. Now we expect getByCode method invoked once with free string as parameter, but this throws exception. Using will throw exception method and specify the exception object. Finally, invoke the get membership plan method with customer ID parameter. Test a result. This returned in successful test with a total number of 15 assertions so far. If we take a look at data methods, these models seem to have no or not much logic, so we ignore them, including the resource or collection models. We have membership repository model containing meaningful code, so we're gonna write unit test coverage for this class. Go ahead and create membership repository test class. Extends from test case class. Let's split the screen for ease. First thing is to create membership repository mock object. With a new keyword, initialize the repository mock instance. Next, we need to inject required dependencies. First, create mock instance of membership resource model. Then membership factory model. Next, create mock object of collection factory model. Then mock object for membership search results interface factory. and finally create mock object of collection processor. Now inject the dependencies accordingly. We will begin the test cases from get method, create test get method, add id property with value 1. From first line of code, the membership factory is creating membership instance. So first create the membership mock object. We are expecting the create method once from membership factory instance, and this returns the membership mock object. Then from resource model, we expect load invoked once, accepting membership mock object and id parameter. Next we have get id invoked. So membership object expects get id called once and returns id. Finally, membership instance is returned. So here we will invoke insert equals method. The membership mock object will be our expected value. In second parameter, invoke the original method. We need to test the membership repository. Specify the membership repository test class. The test case failed and this resulted in an exception. The test case is expecting instance of abstract model mock object instead of interface mock object. So let's replace the membership interface with the membership model class path. Invoke get mock method for non-interface classes. This time test was successful. The test passed with 4 assertions. We now need to test a specific behavior where an exception is thrown. Go ahead and create a method test get with no such entity exception. The id property should have null value. Copy the membership mock object and expected create method from the previous method along with the resource load method expected behavior. We also need to specify an exception. No such entity is expected. Finally, we expect the membership get id method invoked once, which returns null value, and throw exception. Provide the expected class path in parameter, and finally invoke the original method. Let's make the id value to 0 instead of null and replace the null return value with id property. Run the test. The result executed successfully. Next we need to test get by code method. Create method test get by code. Create code variable with the value standard. Membership factory create requires membership mock builder as return type. So create the membership model mock object. The membership factory invokes create method once and returns membership mock object. Then we have resource model load method expected to be invoked once with membership mock object in first parameter and code in second. More, we need to specify the field name code as a third parameter. Next, membership mock object expects get id invoked once only and returns 1 in response. And finally compare the expected result with the original by invoking the original method from model mock object. The test ran successfully and passed. Then we will create the exception behavior for get by code method. We need almost all of the code from previous method. Let's keep the code value empty and replace the return type with null value for get by ID method. Then we will tell Magento that we are expecting an exception with class no such entity exception. Finally, throw the exception and invoke the original method. Running the test will result in success response. Go ahead and create unit test method for save method. This time membership data interface is passed an argument. We need the mock object created earlier within the setup method. First we will define the membership property, then initialize it as a mock of the membership interface inside the setup method. So from first line of code, we expect get ID method to be invoked once and returning a value. The null is returned since we adding a new record. This will take us inside if loop and we check here if membership can be loaded using provided code. Before that we need to invoke getCode with some returning value. Let's create a code variable with the value standard, then invoke the setCode method to return this type. Without using expect method, we are indicating that getCode will return string standard when called. Now we expect the getCode method is called once from membership mock instance and returns the code value. As we see the same class method getByCode invoked, this means we need to test its related code as well. We will separately create a mock object for membership model. Next, we expect membership factory create method invoked once and returns membership mock object. Then from resource model, we expect load is invoked once and takes three parameters: membership mock object, code value, and membership code. Then we expect get ID method from membership object invoked once and returns an integer value 1. Let's declare this integer value. Replace the value with this variable. Let's expect the getID method is called at least once. Because this method is being called more than once, as we are also invoking getID method inside our main method. Now we expect membership mock instance invokes setID method once, providing the ID value in parameter and returns current instance. Next we expect resource model invokes save method once with membership mock property as parameter, then call assert equals and provide the membership mock property as expected value and invoke the save method as original value in the second parameter. We will pass membership mock property instance to save method. Now let's run the test. Oops, the test failed. If we take a look closely, the reason is still the membership interface mock instance. The expected object should be instance of abstract object, but membership interface is just an interface. This also means the membership is an instance of both the membership interface and the abstract model. So go ahead and replace the membership interface class with the membership model. If we retry running the test, it fails again. This time it finds that getID method was not expected to be called more than once. But in original method getID was invoked more than once. So let's fix this. If we take a look at the save method closely, we find the getID method was invoked two times in different places of method. So let's fix getID invocation to be at most two times. Due to invocation from multiple places, the value may also vary. So replace will return method with will return on consecutive calls method and provide multiple value. The first is null, while other value is from id. The return value should be in consecutive order of the calls. This time we run the test. The return in successful result. Next we will create test for delete method. Like previous method, delete method also takes the membership interface instance and parameter. Create test delete method. First set the ID of membership instance. So it should return the ID when getID invoked. Then set the code of membership instance using setCode method. The resource model expects the delete method invoked once and accepts the membership mock property as argument. Finally, invoke as a true method and pass the original invocation. The parameter should be membership mock property. Time to run the test. The test passed successfully. We can also run the test from a PHP Storm IDE. Another test we can write is getList method. Go ahead and create test getList method. Since it accepts the search criteria interface instance, so we have to create its mock object. At first line, the create method is being invoked using collection factory instance. This will return the collection object. So first create the collection mock object. Now invoke the create method once and return the collection mock object. In next line, search results factory is invoking create method, which returns the membership search results interface mock object. So like collection, we also create the search results interface mock objects first. Invoke get mock for abstract class function because we are creating mock object for an interface. Now call the create method from search results factory mock instance once only and return the search results mock object. Then in next line we expect set search criteria called once, which takes search criteria mock object as parameter and returns self value. In next line we expect process method is invoked from collection process mock instance once and takes search criteria and membership collection mock object as parameters. Before invoking the set items from search results instance, we need to call the get items method from membership collection mock object. We expect it to be called once. This returns an array of membership mock objects. Now we can call set items method. We expect it to be invoked once. It takes an array of membership mock objects. Again, we don't need to care about the return value. Earlier we set items into search results instance, and now we will set total accounts into it. So likewise get items method. We are expecting get size invoked once from membership collection mock object and it returns value 1. Now we are able to invoke the set total count from search results instance and we expect it once only.
The parameter value should be similar to the total count return, and it returns self instance. Finally, call assert equals function, pass the expected search results mock object, and the original method invocation in parameters. If you run the test, it will pass as expected.